Welcome to Hip Hop Head Reacts. Might come up with a better name in the future, but for right now, this is what we got. This is what we're working with. Um, so a little bit about me. My name is Sam. I'm a hip hop head. I listen to a lot of different music, not just hip hop and rap, but also I grew up on jazz and gospel music. I'm Latino, so I love a lot of Hispanic music. You know, things like Vicente Fernandez, Celia Cruz, Buena Vista Social Club, groups like that I really love. I also am way into foreign music just in general because of that, and everything besides pop. Now, I have seen people who are a little more on the pop side of music do reactions to hip hop and Latin music, and that's great. I mean, I love it when people experience something that I love and they enjoy it too. Whether that's a book, a movie, music, food, um, dance, whatever it is. Um, but I haven't seen anyone who is more of a fan of these other types of music react to pop music. I used to write off pop music completely, especially as a hip hop guy and rap. Um, I love rap music, and the big thing about rap music, for all of you that don't know, rap music is, for a lot of it, is about the complexity of your rhymes. Not just how complex the rhyming structure itself is, but also um, the references, the possible ways you can make this rhyme work, how you can get two words that don't really rhyme but make them rhyme together in a song, your ability to keep up with the rhythmical flow as well, where you're both rhyming but also the syllable delivery rate and then rhythm is the same. And you also have, in jazz, you have a lot of like complex music theory stuff that you have to literally go to college to understand. And with Latin music as well, there's a lot of complexities in all that, but it's in Spanish. Um, and also your singing capabilities too of a lot of those singers in Hispanic music, whether it's norteña, whether it's salsa, also like folk music from like Peru and stuff like that. The singing ability of those people is amazing as well. Um, and because of all that, I've kind of always written pop music off as lame. I'm like, this stuff is just boring. Um, but as I've gotten older, um, I've realized that's not really the case. Pop music can be complex. Pop music can be fun. Pop music can also be pushing the envelope of what someone can do musically. And there was just a point, I would say probably around 2008, 2009, give or take, whenever I entered high school, um, where I fell off with pop music. And that's when I started writing it off because I grew up playing in my church band, and then I joined my high school band, my middle school band, then high school band, and then jazz band as well. And I currently play in a salsa band. So I've always been into music, and I've never given pop music a chance. And I also just don't see people reacting to pop music as much as I see pop music people reacting to non-pop music. So I figured I'd add something in there to spice it up. So the current schedule, I don't have specific days in mind we're going to be doing uploads on this channel. But the typical rhythm is going to go like this, and I'm taking a lot of inspiration from one of my favorite reaction channels, Bob the Pop Pop. So big shout out to Bob. He's a rocker that has reacted to rap, and seeing kind of his insights into a genre of music that he's not familiar with coming from a rock perspective it's very motivating creatively, not just to make this channel, but in my other creative endeavors that I do as well. So I'm going to kind of copy his template. So what he does, and I'm going to start doing too, is we're going to do a live reaction to the album. So listen to the album all the way through live. And then we're going to do a couple days off. Probably going to give myself a day without listening to the album. And then I'm going to listen to it off camera by myself once or twice. And then we're going to do like an additional thoughts, a follow-up video, not really to give a review, kind of a review, kind of where the album sits with me after that initial reaction, because I feel like the first reaction to an album, um, it's kind of like the first reaction to a movie. It's not 100% there. You need to chew on it for a little bit, so it's not going to be enough time to give it a review, but just after a couple days and letting it kind of become more familiar, see what I think about it, and then I may do, 6 months later, talk about the album again. Maybe, I don't know. So for terms of pop music just means what's popular. So you can do pop music from any time period. I'm gonna specifically start kind of around 2008, 2009, whenever I started falling off with pop music. Because before that, pop music before that, like 2008, I would say going back, um, very familiar with, that music. My sister would play a lot of it. And then going back to the 80s and 90s, that was my mom's jam. And then 70s is my dad's jam. And then 60s, my grandparents. So that's why I'm going to say 2008. That's when I started listening to music more on my own. And when I fell off with pop music, and then we're going to go to the modern day. Off the bat, there are 3 albums, and I'm going to look them up right now what their names are, that are immediately off the off bounds because I've already listened to them all the way through on my own. The first one being Taylor Swift's Midnights. I listened to it when it came out. I didn't really like the album. There was no song on the album that I particularly enjoyed. So for that, and I've listened to it probably twice or 3 times now, and no song has really stuck out as a as a good song that I'm like, oh, I'd put this in the regular playlist. So the second one is One Direction's Up All Night, their first album. That one is the kind of the album that made me want to do this. I listened to it at work, just put it on. And for the most part, I didn't enjoy the album, but there were 3 or 4 songs that kind of stuck out to me, and I've listened to them since that I enjoyed. Out of the 12 or 13 songs on that album, about 4 that I liked. Opening track, What Makes You Beautiful. That one's a certified hood classic. It's probably their number 1 hit too. I don't know. Second is going to be the second track on the album, Gotta Be You. I like the production on the strings of that song. It was a good song. I kind of like the messaging too. It seemed like the lyrics were coming from a place of experience. I don't know. Next one was I Want. Overall, I like the piano part. I feel like the production really came together on that one as well. And then I like the messaging too, where he's kind of talking to a girl that's all about, she's money, purses, clothes. And he's like, I just want to be loved. So I like that one. And then I honestly forget the other one. There's a song on the Taken or something like that. Let me look up really quickly. It's a song where Taken by One Direction. That's the song where I thought going into that song, I knew what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about a guy that was going after a girl that was taken, because there was a song earlier in the album that was about that, and I thought like, oh, they're just going to repeat the thing they just told us, because they'd already done that. There was a few songs where it was like the same story being told, almost same setup, same purpose, same theme, all that stuff. That's what I thought it was going to be about, and it threw me a curveball because it's a guy and a girl broken up, and he had moved on and was already taken. And I just found that really enjoyable because it was just a flip of my expectations. I don't know. The production was decent on that song. I just liked the curveball. And then the title track, Up All Night, that wasn't a standout one in terms of anything. I liked about it. There was just one part where I lost it laughing. I was at work listening to it. I was at work alone, so I didn't care if people heard me laughing because nobody else was in the building. Um, in the chorus, he says something about people are going all the way, so doing the dirty at a party, and then the the next line, the next verse, he opens up with, "I don't care if we break the table," or something like that. And my first thought was he was getting so freak nasty with this girl that they were gonna break a table, and then I th- and so I look up the age of the band members, and like all of them were 17 when this album, 17 or 18 when this album came out, and I was like, young man, you're not old enough to be that freak nasty. You have to you have to attain a certain age level before you're breaking tables freak nasty, and you're still a kid. You should still be freaking out if a girl's holding your hand, young man. Uh, but then I hit play again because I hit pause whenever I heard that line. I hit play again, and then I realized he says like, "I just want to make her laugh." And so then I realized, oh, he's just like fooling around with his friends, and he's trying to make this girl laugh so she'll be into him. And so he's gonna like jump up on the table and do something stupid and possibly break it. So that was funny experience. But overall, the rest of the songs on the album, I didn't really care for them. The last song, I don't remember what it's called. It was a nice slow guitar. It was a nice break because I feel like the drums sounded. It was the same problem I had with the Taylor Swift album. Synths sounded the same, drums sounded the same, vocally it all kind of sounded the same too. I couldn't also coming from hip hop is all about if you have a feature or if you have a group, every person has their own sound. So even if it's a duo like Outkast, you can tell if it's Big Boy or if it's Andre 3000 rapping. In a massive group like Wu-Tang Clan, there's like 9 or 10 members depending on who you ask. Each one of them has their own rhythm, their own delivery, their own sound, their own subject matter that they usually use. So for me not to be able to differentiate the boys in the band made it really hard. And I had to like look up the lyrics and figure out who was singing. But if I just closed my eyes and listened to it, I couldn't tell if it was a new person singing or not. Which, again, it's their first album, so I'm not giving them too much smack for that. Maybe they got better as their albums progressed. We'll find out as this channel goes. And then the next album was Meghan Trainor's current newest album, Taking It Back. I love her song All About That Bass. I agree with the messaging of that song. I'm all about that bass myself. I can't really add anything more to that. So I was like, oh, I like that song. Maybe I'll like Meghan Trainor. And her new album came out. This is a good opportunity to jump into Meghan Trainor probably. Again, overall, didn't like the album overall, but there were a few standout songs. Shook, of course, Made You Look's a good one too. I forget the song title, but the one where she's talking about seeing a therapist and how the relationship she's in just isn't good for her. And then there's a feature singer who a male singer, I don't remember his name. I just really like that song. But again, rest of the album was mostly skips for me. So those 3 are the albums we won't do reactions to because I've already listened to them, and if I was going to do a reaction, it wouldn't be a genuinely first-time reaction. Don't have a first album picked out, though, so it's probably going to be a Taylor Swift album. I feel like I've never listened to any of her music besides, like, Shake It Off. I used to be a wedding DJ, so I have heard a lot of singles, but not necessarily albums. Hopefully that won't affect the quality of the reactions at all. So I'm thinking first album's probably going to be Taylor Swift's first album, unless I come up with something different. I might do One Direction's second album, or we might run it to I don't know. We'll come up with something. I'll be looking through like top chart albums of the year, and whichever ones are defined as pop are the ones I'm gonna be pulling from. If you have recommendations for album I could react to, put it down below. Like I said, this is just the kind of trailer of the channel. Hope to see you in the first video.